I am going to talk about today the psychology of marketing. See, everybody thinks of marketing as, you put an ad down, you get your people in, you service them, you give them the thing, you give them a warranty. It ain't that simple. When I went to university and I was studying marketing, and am I going away from the camera?
No, you're fine.
I'm sorry, people in other places.
I'm following you.
When I got there, all of these wonderful marketing people from the top agencies in the world were teaching at our school, which was only 10 minutes away from the hub of advertising in Madison Avenue, New York City. So we got what we call dollar a year men, which was COOs, CMOs, directors of ad buying or whatever it was, print media. And they would teach one course, 2 courses a year. They'd come in their limousines, they'd get out, they'd teach a course, they'd go home. They got paid $1 a year. We were very, very fortunate. But one thing one professor told me really stuck. Said, you're taking too many business courses. Get more psychology courses. I go, why? Psychology is for like weird people. I mean, you see 2 psych majors and they walking down a hall and they pass each other and one says to the other, good morning. The other one thinks, wonder what he meant by that. But he was right. Psychology plays more into marketing than any other business subject does. Marketing and psychology are like wedded together and have nothing to do with finance and all that really good stuff, or what you get when you have to go and get a patent. That's your stuff. But to get your product, yourself, in front of the right people and triggering the right words and the right images, that is what we're going to be talking about today, if I get this to work. You guys are brilliant. Yes, you are. But you can be wacky. Now, guys like me, on the other hand, we're wacky. Sometimes we can be brilliant. It's sort of, how can I say it? I put it up here, but what does it say? It says the opposite side of the sanity coin. We are 2 sides of the brains. I am a right brain guy, almost entirely, and most inventors are left brain people. So it's when we get together, it's sort of like, you want ice cream? Yeah, I'd love cake. Okay. Left brain? Recognize him? That's my uncle. Right brain? That's my other uncle. Here's what we got. The left brain versus the right brain. Left brains are sequencing, linear thinking, mathematics, fact, logic. How does this thing work? I don't know what it does. On my side, we have feelings. We have imagination. We have intuition. But you know something? A lot of us have, let me see if this works here too. Oh yeah. A lot of us have these first 3. Thinking in words and sequencing and linear thinking, because that is what takes the left brain and the right brain and puts it all together and makes marketing psychology work. If I was just a total right brainer, you wouldn't even want to speak to me. It's because I have some of you in me, and I'm trying to put some of me now in you. So, whoop, wrong way, Carter. Here we go. This way, come on. Aha. These are traits. I should have done that earlier, but you know that. Now, take a look at this little, what do they call it? A composite, whatever they call these things when people make collage on it. Yeah. Okay. I think there's something like 16 people on the right side and maybe 20 on the left side. See if you can recognize any of them and understand that left-brain people, although opposite of me, are usually very factual oriented. Therefore, they make great inventors, great scientists, great mathematicians, wonderful lawyers. God help us. And you can see some of them there, including the fellow you had on the screen before, and Albert, and Mr. Bell. So you had all your terrific inventors. But I want to tell you something. This side has their pluses too. These are my favorites. I found it hard to collect those, but this one was really easy for me. And I hope you can recognize all those people. And if you can't, tell me, I'll send you the slide and you can figure it out. Imagine. There's a word imagine. And what's in imagine? IN. What's the rest of the word? Image. Images are very, very important in marketing and in life. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's worth 10,000 or 20,000 words if the picture is right. Remember the picture of the sailor kissing the girl in Times Square when the war was over, when World War II was over? That's an iconic picture. And those iconic pictures last forever. So I'm sure you could think of many more examples of that. But this is what we're after. Images, and imagine takes the image and puts it in the head of somebody who's looking at it. If it's a good image, if it's a bad image, it's gonna work. I gotta give you two images now. They have the exact same message. The words are identical. I want you, this is A, and I'm going to show you B in a minute, or less than a minute. And I want you to write down which one rows your boat. Okay, A or B? This is A. This is B. A, B, A, B. Okay, now, how many of you wrote down A or B? How many of you wrote down anything? Then you're not listening. I want you to do something for me. Write it down. Why? Because when you write it down, you commit. Writing it down commits you to something. So when I ask you in a minute to raise your hand and tell me what you wrote down, you will actually have it wrote down so I can check you out when you go out the door and find out if you were lying to me or not. I'm just kidding. Okay, everybody who put down and no, wrong one. Go back there. Everyone who said A, please raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5. B, 1, 2, 3, 4. Neither. One.
That's me.
All right. I'm glad that you answered that, because what happens if we just see in a group full of, I'm expecting mostly left-brained people, that you guys have differences. One thing meant something more to one person, and the other one affected the others. So when you're actually making up a sell sheet, when you're getting your product together and you're trying to find images, you need to find images that trigger emotions that you want to trigger inside the mind of whomever is your target or your avatar client. Tell you the truth, we run A/B tests all the time. We ran A/B tests with this, and they came out about 61-39. Okay, I won't even tell you which one. And we're going to go, of course, with the 61 in our business. So that's backwards, that's forward. Our agenda for this evening is what we've already done, was the brain game. And the brain game is just a matter of getting an idea of how you think, how you reason, how you come to decisions, how you and I are different. Then we're going to go on next is why really smart people have problems with marketing. Am I not allowed to drink now?
You are, but you're gonna reach
I'm just
further.
gonna get some. Why really smart people have problems with marketing, and sometimes really dumb people don't. Inventors? Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say I've seen enough. I've had a few of your members here as clients, and I saw their interactions. I actually had to fire one of them as a client because they said, I want to do it this way. And I said, I want to do it that way because I've been doing this for a long time. I really think, well, I want to do it this way. So we'll do it this way. Here's your check back. Don't need it. What a sell sheet should be and what it often ain't. SciMark, it's shorthand for psychological marketing. Who wants to say that all the time? What did you major in school? SciMark. Oh, really? You were an athlete? No. Psychological marketing is tough to say. So we call it SciMark. And finally, to give you a very simple formula for the success of that sell sheet. Let's start. So why are some people who are very smart so frustrated when it comes to telling people about what they have? A lot of people are afraid. They're afraid because, oh, we're trying to sell somebody something. Well, yeah, okay, I go with that. Well, trying to sell something to somebody, that's not good. That's pushing. Well, no, because I think of it a different way. I used to think of it like that until I was at the agency for about 8 minutes. And here's what they told me. What you are writing is beneficial to people who need what we're selling. What you're writing is of no consequence to people who don't need what we're selling. If, for instance, we're selling cough drops and a person doesn't have a cough, no writing is going to make them take a cough drop or a lozenge. On the other hand, if he does have a cough drop and we're telling him, if he does have a cough, pardon me, and we're telling him about it, the cough drop, he is going, thanks. You're giving people the opportunity to get what they need. So anybody who thinks that all advertising and marketing do is try to persuade people to do something that they ordinarily would not do, you are on the wrong train going in the wrong direction. Clarity and truth are so much better than persuasion. One of my heroes, the reason I named Write Like a Madman University, Write Like a Madman University. How many people have maybe seen the TV show on, I think it was AMC, Mad Men?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't see a whole lot of enthusiasm, Jamie. Get that hand up there where it belongs. Come on. Sorry, everybody, but we have a recalcitrant member of our audience. Anyway, the people, the actual people who inspired that series were 4. Rosser Reeves, David Ogilvy, Bill Bernbach, and Raymond Rubicam. They are the original Mad Men. All of them passed on, obviously, now. But when I was how shall I say it, an 18-year-old newbie in an agency, I worked for Rosser Reeves. Well, okay, I was a gopher for 6 months, and he was the CEO emeritus and chairman of the board. Maybe I didn't exactly work for him, but he did run the company. So we got a lot of this. Alan, it's not bad writing, but what would Mr. Reeves say? So it was always, what was Mr. Reeves say? What would, I thought the guy had a bracelet on it, you know? WWRS. What would Reeves say? And somebody countermanded that idea and made a lot of money. Anyhow, why are some people who are smart frustrated? Well, let's go into it. First, we underestimate the importance of marketing to success. You think marketing is a necessary evil, and I say marketing is the way to reach your dream. It has nothing, literally. You can make any invention you want, from a space rocket to a little thing that one of your people invented that holds the back of a phone in your hand, and you could twirl it around and never lose contact with it. And you could do things one-handed. Not a bad invention. Another one had this thing like a horseshoe that you put around you in the water, and it acts as a great floater. And he called it the floating fine. Great product. Didn't take a whole lot of engineering, but it took a whole lot of imagination. And he did very nicely with it, and still doing very nicely with it. There's the off button, which is right underneath the forward button. And I got big fingers. Sorry. Peter Drucker, I don't know if any of you have heard of Peter Drucker, one of the foremost thinkers and writers on business in the last century and part of this century. Peter Drucker said one thing I repeat all the time. Marketing and innovation are the only two things in business that make money. Everything else you do is a cost. And I'm going to put it to you and see if you can prove me wrong. Accounting, to me, is a cost. It doesn't make you money. Cleaning your shop is a cost. It doesn't bring in any money, but it's vital. Can anybody think of something that you do that is not marketing or innovation that actually brings in cash? The answer so far as all my years of doing this thing has been, no, Alan, we can't. Okay, let's just use that as a given and think Mr. Drucker knew what the heck he was talking about, because he did. Number two, they believe in the myth of the mousetrap, claptrap. That man, right there, Henry David Thoreau, you might have heard of him. Walden, all those great things, terrific writer. But as a businessman, nothing. Why? Because he said, and I quote, I think, accurately, let me see, I can paraphrase it good. Invent a better or make a better mousetrap, and the world will beat a path to your door. And if you think that's true, go do it and see. Put something in your garage. The greatest thing since sliced bread. Better than Virgin Atlantic's rocket ship. Better than the pet rock. And just leave it there and see how many people come to your house and want to see it. Nobody want to know why? Because nobody's ever heard of it. Think about that. What is marketing but just broadcasting what you have that you are proud of? And if you're not willing to do that, you're not willing to be in business in any way, shape, or form. Whether it is to bring somebody in as an investor or to sell the rights to produce it and sell it and market it for a percentage, or if you're just going to go into business for yourself. If you're not proud enough of it to tell people about it, I'm afraid that I'm wasting my breath. But I think you all are proud of what you do. Lee Iacocca, who brought us the Ford Mustang, put his entire career on the line, saying, we're going to make this Ford Mustang right after the incredible failure of the Etzel. There are a lot of you who are too young to remember that. Yeah, and there are a lot of you who aren't, including me. The Etzel is a colossal failure, and the Mustang was the greatest success Ford ever had to this day, including the Model T. Lee Iacocca says, if you have brilliance in you, but you don't say it, you don't tell anyone, you can't get your ideas across to anyone, guess what? You won't go anywhere. The third thing of the four is they're frustrated because they believe that they are experts in their business, which makes them experts at everything in their business. Well, I own a printing business and I know printing from A to Z. I know everything there is. I've never been stumped. I said, okay. What's the best time of the day to send a post on Facebook to your friends and followers? Well, I don't know. That's right. You don't know, because you know printing, but you don't know anything else. Just because you're great at one thing doesn't mean you're great at everything. I always like that idea, and I never bring politics into my business at all. But I will say this. I always love the fact that athletes who are great athletes and actors who are terrific entertainers always have this opinion, and we get them say, oh, they're an actor. They played a doctor on TV, so he knows all about COVID. Come on. They're actors. They know how to act. They don't know medicine. Pick and choose who you're taking advice from. And that's not being political in one way or shape. I just don't like it when people get out of their realm and start saying, I'm so good because this, so you have to believe me at everything. People actually run their business like that. And that is something that tends to cause them a little problem, a little agita. 4, they talk about the features of their product, while their products and their prospects are just dying to hear about the benefits that will come to them for using it. I had this thing about, oh, man, I used to say 5 or 6 years ago. Now I think it's now about 12 or 15 years ago, where there was a company, Kyocera out in San Diego. They called me in and asked me if I would give them some suggestions on how to position their new high-speed double what's-a-flammet copy and printer. I said, be glad to get there, gentlemen. So I came to a room much like this with a lectern and everything, and I put my stuff down under the lectern, and I had one thing on top. And I said, okay, gentlemen, will somebody please tell me about your great new IS 123, whatever it was, printer copier machine? Yes, sir. Well, it's got triple clamp refractors and the bolt and the bus, and they all intersect in the. Okay, next. Who got it? Who's got? Oh, it's got an anode of a dielectric frisbee, and it's in there. I went through like 4 of these guys. They're all engineers, and they're all telling me these wonderful things, and yet I held up a manila folder, I got from one of their secretaries, which I took a Sharpie and wrote in the middle, I don't give a, I'm not going to say the next word. Wasn't a real bad word, but it was bad. And they just stopped. I go, I don't. I'm a consumer, or I'm a commercial buyer. And guess who I care about? Me, not you. I could care less what your features are. I want to know, how are they going to do for me? And in the next half hour, we came up with this. With our new IS 123, if you have a 300-page report to get out at the end of the day, our report will take 37 minutes. Our next competitor's report will take 1 hour and 40 minutes. You'll be home eating dinner by the time that other machine is getting finished. That's the benefit. That's why you do it. That's why you spend the money. Nobody cares about how it works operationally, except some other nerds and these engineers. But we all care about how it affects our lives. Remember, marketing is not pushing something on somebody. It's giving them the opportunity to make their lives better, simpler, more fun, safer, more healthy. Whatever it is, they become more attractive to the opposite sex. They do everything for you if you just tell them about it. That's all. And that's all marketing is. So in essence, it's really, really simple. A friend of mine, who shall remain nameless, has a quote I use. Beat feature fixation with two simple words, and those are which means. I'm going to give you an example. We've tripled the amount of ROM in our new computer, new laptop computer. And so what? Which means you'll be running your internet 43% faster than you ever were before. Oh, okay. That's something even I would understand. And we all know us right-brained people don't do technology. In fact, I have an article I wrote. It said, the title of it is Techies Can't Write, Writers Can't Tech. It's on my blog. Anyway, cell sheets. I know near and dear to your heart, and I am going to wreck it. I'm sorry, Laura. Cell sheets are just a name. You don't have to have a sheet, and you don't have to sell, but you do have to inform, educate, motivate, and interest. A sell sheet could be a web page. In fact, I really suggest that it is. A web page, you can go, whereas a sheet of paper goes, that's it, no more space. It's a statement of benefits, a business opportunity, if you will, a bit of a tease and a marketing formula. Whereas it is not a brag sheet, a spec sheet, schematics, blueprints, or anything like it. Not in the beginning, not until you get somebody really interested and committed. And it's not just a pretty face. Let me take a look at this that was handed to me in one of my previous engagements. Does the headline attract you? I see a lot of head shaking, no. I don't see a lot of people jumping up and down saying, I gotta have that. Does the layout make you want to go and read it? Do the illustrations, right? Those, there's illustration over there, and all these little illustrations. Do they engage you? They draw you in? Do they make you enlightened as to what this is? Do the Post-it notes grab you by the you-know-what and say, read me? The answer is no. This is a colossal failure. And yet that person was extremely proud of it. Let me give you some just quick tips on cell sheets. Oh, by the way, yeah, 11 by 5, that's 8.5 by 11, that's all you can get. With a good website, you can go on for 3 pages and nobody knows it. Mark for inventors. What we want to do is take what's in your heart and in your head and turn that into what you say about your invention. We know you're proud of it. We know you know how it'll help people. We just want you to know it too. And unfortunately, too many inventors, too many, have said, I'm not built that way. I have to talk tech. I have to talk how I pounded out the metal. I have to talk about how the gears intermesh to give us a smooth riding new type of lawnmower, whatever it is. I like it, but you can't say it that way. Mentally, take your cell sheet, whether it's a piece of paper or a web page, and divide it into 4 mental areas. The top area, and by the way, this is a pretty good web page here, cell sheet, excuse me. Mentally divided into 4 areas. The first area has to say this: who, what, why? Who are you? What do you do? And why should we do business with you? And guess what? That has to be done in 7 seconds. Why? Well, every couple of years, some scientific think tank or whatever it is that they are nowadays comes out with a rating for attention spans. And about 10, 12 years ago, adult in this country was about a little less than a minute. Then it dropped to about 38 seconds. Then it dropped to about 18 seconds. In 2016, it was 13 seconds. And when I came here, January of 2018, the first time, it had dropped to 8 seconds. And to give you some perspective on 8 seconds, it is right behind a goldfish that was rated at 9 seconds. You could take a little silver thing and you could put it on the edge of the bowl, and that goldfish will spend about 9 seconds staring at it and then swim away because he doesn't really care. Yet adults in the Western world have an 8-second thing. Now, blame it on MTV, blame it on anything you want, it doesn't matter, it exists. So we have to deal with it. The next part is what we call the nitty and the gritty. This actually is where you put the great benefits, where you give the value proposition, which includes benefits and all, why this thing will change your life. And if you don't think that even a simple thing will change your life, I beg to differ. When Reese's came out with something called Take 5, they changed my life. That was the best candy bar I ever had in my life. I buy them all the time now and I allow myself 1 a week, or else I'd be, a lot more than I am. But I still love them. They got pretzel, and peanuts, and peanut butter, and caramel, and chocolate. Oh, let me tell you how much they changed my life. But even take about what? Cars have changed our lives. Not only the car we drive, but also the fact that we can drive. has changed our lives. Clothing has changed our lives. Computers have changed our lives, and some computers have changed them even better. Phones, medicine, everything changes your life for the better. That's why you want it. Then, of course, if you're doing something and you're trying to get the attention of an investor or a partner, then you come out to the little bit about the opportunity. Don't make the assumption that they are all interested and they're just waiting to get their hands on your sell sheet to come and make you a wealthy man. That's not necessarily so. Now, you are going to have to compete with hundreds of people. You're going to have to compete with each other. You're going to have to compete with these wonderful people across the globe on the internet, on the Zoom call. You're going to have to compete. And why would somebody want to take your invention as a project and invest in it? Well, because it can benefit humans or dogs. It is making money. It can make money for you and for me. And isn't that what it's all about? Well, maybe it is. That's exactly the benefits that they are looking for. And finally, there's a learn more here for more information, contact, because this is not a real, it's not an internet thing. So you don't have a CTA, which is, well, you do. It's a call to action, but you don't have a click. Okay? So your call to action here, which is extremely important, you never put out anything without a call to action. You say, for more information, contact. Okay, that's good. That's a call to action. But why should they contact you? Maybe somebody else other than you would give a nice description or an endorsement to your product and put right down there by that CTA, right where the guy's ready to do something, can make all the difference. If you put it someplace else, it's not going to help. And that's why when if you decide you want my book, and like I said, we're going to give it to you guys for no cost. But you will find out about what you can do with a call to action and why it's immensely important to time it out and do everything correctly. There are some people who put a call to action, buy it now, right on top. Are you kidding me? Buy it now when you haven't been on my site for 5 seconds? Well, that's a little presumptive, don't you think? I haven't earned the right to ask you. First, I have to get you intrigued. I have to get you to know you're in the right spot. I have to get you to know it's a good value, that you will benefit by it, that it's different from everything else on the market, and then maybe I'll ask you if you want to get more information or go forward if it's a small thing and buy it, or subscribe to the newsletter, or whatever it is. But if you haven't earned that right, you will lose that prospect all the time. Whoops, can't do 2 things at once. Who, what, and why. Who you are, what you do, and why should we buy from you? 7 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. That's well, ladies and gentlemen all over the world. Yes, you have 7 seconds. The middle is also a show, and I call it sometimes show and tell. But here is something that many people forget on the sell sheets that I've seen. I've seen easily 60, 70 of them. Is it marketable? And I think you touched on this, Laura. Is it desirable and is it profitable? Because if you can't answer yes, yes, and yes, why are you doing it? Other than a loving spouse, or a doting mother, nobody's going to believe you. You got to prove it. Every time you make a claim, imagine me, this is me, right there. That little devil, that me. He's on your shoulder and he's whispering in your ear, prove it. You make a, we're the best service this side of Montgomery, Alabama. Prove it. We never make a mistake. Prove it. We got #1 mechanics in our shop. Prove it. I know how to prove it. You get their certificates and you say, these guys are certified by the ASA and they have this and this and this and this and this certification. Beautiful. You got a certified person. Anything you do, prove it. That's rule 1. So rule 2, psychological marketing is based on a communication strategy that is, gentlemen, and no other people? Okay. Called logical thought sequence. This is where psychology really comes in. You can't just say things willy and nilly and expect to get a reaction from the people who are reading or looking at it or hearing it. You see that little graphic at the bottom right? Remember those things when I had, I made them as kids, you'd flip through the pages and you see your little stick figures and they move like a cartoon. Okay, imagine if this thing, and you went in there and you ripped out this many pages and then flipped through it, what would it be? It would be a disconnect. Why? Because there's no sequence. A perfect sequence has to be made. That's what we do in psychological marketing. We start with one idea. We state it clearly. We go to the next idea. We build on the first idea, build on the first two, build on the next one until we come to the point where we've given them everything we have in a way of benefits and explanations and logical reasoning to buy our product or take this free test, or how about a trial offer? Whatever it is that we're trying to get them to do, which is a CTA, call to action, has to be logical. And that is where, again, the psychology of marketing comes in. Here are two, let's just call them websites, web pages for now. The first one I call the hodgepodge. You see, it's laid out pretty normally if you didn't have all those arrows there, but let's look at it for a second. You start at the logo and the tagline. Whoa, 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 stop, stop, stop. Go back. Ah, thank you. I'm trying to get the laser to work. There we go. You start up there, and now you hit the headline and the main image. Okay? Pretty much everyone does that. Okay, then from that main image, you give them 1, 2, 3, 4 choices of where to go. 4 choices that they can take. From this choice, you then have, you can go here, you can go here, you can go there, and pretty soon you've got 32 different choices in the first 1 minute of reading. In other words, there is no sequence. There is no logic. And you are not using an eye tracking device to get their eyes to follow where you're going. Okay? This one, the zigzag's a little bit better. I give it a C+. Here, go from the logo to the main headline, and now you see 3 boxes. Now, normally people read 3 boxes left to right. Okay? Unless you're Israeli or Arabic, in which case you go the other way. Okay. So you get feature box, feature box, feature box. Now where are you going to go? Oh, you go here. Okay, you read this, then you go, I can go to the image or I can go to the words. But basically, it is logical. They take your eye and they say, we're going to train your eye right now to go there, 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 there. We're going to put our logic, our psychological logic into those things in that sequence, culminating with the action button. This one never even gets to the action button most of the time. People give up. Just forward. Yeah, okay. Now let's take a look at what I would consider an A. You got the tagline and the logo, and now directly underneath, you have the headline and main image, and directly underneath, you have the first part of your LTS. And LTS stands for what? Come on. You, yeah, don't look at me. It's you I'm looking for.
I'm not sure.
What?
I'm not sure.
You're not good?
I'm not sure.
How about you? Do
Logical.
we have to send a note to your parents?
Right there.
He knows it. He's a veteran. I've seen him before.
Yep.
Logical thought sequence.
Sequence.
Okay, that's taking you down the logical thought sequence. It's giving you what you need, whether it's an image or a video, to support the logical thought sequence with one thought, next thought, and down to the action button. Now, I'm going to even complicate it a little more, but it's not, because it can make it even simpler. But you're going to think it's complicated when you first hear it. Here goes. When you start writing, I talk about writing in thought bites, which means simply you have a tripartite or three-part writing section. You have an introduction line, you have the meat, and you have an outro line or an exit line or a culmination line where you say either we're going to go to the next thing or, and that's what we have just proven. That's the end of that section. And if you're going to start writing in paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph, and you're not going to keep it contained, very few people are going to stay with you when you write that way. And this is why it's important to get copywriting understanding into your business, into your sell sheet. Otherwise, all the efforts of your hard work may not get fulfilled, and we want you to get them fulfilled. When somebody, oh, we did it again, didn't we? I'll tell you what. I'm going to drive home, I'm going to do like 85 on the street. Minnie, stop it. Trying to get the little, here we go. Many yeses. What the heck is he talking about? I'll tell you. When you come to a website, I'm working with websites now because pieces of paper are very hard. Okay, they are very hard to work with. A sell sheet that you fold up and put in an envelope, it just limits you. And if that's all you have, fine. But if that can then lead them to go to your website, that's better. So when you have somebody, they come in and they look at your website, whether it's on a computer this size or a computer that size, the website comes up and the first section of that website, in this case, about 7 inches, is seen without you scrolling down. If you can't get them interested without scrolling down, you're missing a big opportunity. Because every time they scroll down, every time they read another section, every time they look at a video, they have made given you a mini yes. And that mini yes says, okay, we like it. We're willing to go further. We're going to give you a little more commitment of our time. And the time on site now grows. And when your site time grows, so does the interest of the person viewing it. And guess what? They're going to eventually get down to give you enough mini. Okay, who's messing with my messing stuff? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just that I'm just so excited.
It goes the opposite way you would think on your clicker.
Maybe, yeah.
It does.
It's
It does.
exactly.
It's
And I'm
counterintuitive.
still confused. You want them to give you enough mini yeses until you have figured that those yeses earn you the right to ask them the big question. The big question is, do you want to call me and set up a dialogue about this? Or do you want to buy it? Or did you go to my website? Whatever it is that you're asking for, and you're only asking for one thing, guys. We're not putting 5 call to actions on there. Anybody that does that, no, they're going to a sanitarium somewhere because they don't know what they're doing. One call to action. I've seen really good people put in 2 calls to action, separated enough. Okay, I can do it. It's called the first one, but if you don't like this, here, I got something a little bit less committable for you. I got something less expensive for you. I got something that's to keep us talking. I'll give you something free, whatever it is. Once you get down to ask for that big yes, and they give it to you, you are the winner. You are the winner. You have now psychologically helped a person understand what you do, understand the benefits, understand the value, and understand that they want to do business with you. And if you do it really, really good, you lead them to the mindset that, I would have to be a complete raving maniac not to contact these people. I'm not ready to buy it, but I can't see not getting their input, not seeing what they really have for me, because you've done such a good job of bringing them down the thought sequence path in little bites of information, and those are called what?
The mini yeses.
No, many yeses are not. Those are the others. This is where you're going at. But they're called thought bites. I know, I'm just a tough guy. I used to be a high school teacher, and you have extra homework. Okay, and I have extra homework with these things. I gotta go home and practice. Let's see, many yeses, and we go to the next screen. Now, is it marketable? Is it desirable? Is it profitable? Put yourselves in the investor's shoes. Now, ladies and gentlemen here. Oh no, ladies, look at this. I want to tell you that I did something spectacularly just for you. Just for you. I got this thing out of off the internet, and I said, I got a pair of those. I do. I don't know if I can do this. I'm a little old, but there you
Let's
go.
see. There we go.
So, talk to the people, put yourself in their shoes, and tell them what they are looking to hear, not what you are looking to tell them. They should be the same thing, actually. Okay? Anybody ever listen to the radio here? Do you know the #1 station of your mind that's always in it? I used to be on radio. WII-FM, the sound of your brain. What's in it for me? That's what I care about when I buy something. I don't care about your company. I don't care about your people. I don't care if they ever get a salary check again. All I know is I'll give you money if this satisfies what I'm looking for. And that is psychological marketing. Everybody's happy. Calls to action. Usually I don't read things. I'm going to let you read them, but I'll pick out a few. They're really just a buying opportunity. This is why I strongly recommend you do your sell sheet on a website or web page, even just one page, okay? Even if you have to do a paper one as well. More space, more information, and you can get in personal contact with them easily through email or through giving them your social site so they can message you. Make it easy for people. Don't make them make a call. I mean, seriously, the worst offer I have ever seen in my life is call us and speak to a sales rep. Yeah, right, just what I want to do. I want to speak to a high pressure salesman. I'm going to go out of my way to do that. Wrong. And the best offer I've ever heard is, we'll give you a free gift with your purchase. Don't make it hard on them, make it easy on them. Now we come to the penultimate part. Formulas matter. I'm sure most of you have not seen, maybe some of us have, Humphrey Bogart movie, big, oh my God, Alan, you're really getting old. The Treasure of Sierra Madre. I'm back young again. Okay, the Treasure of Sierra Madre with the bandits come over to him and said, and the guy says, Humphrey said, I don't see your badges. The badges? We don't need no stinking badges. I can tell you from experience, I've been doing this and working with people like you or like entrepreneurs since 2002. I've worked with and some clients, over 3,000 of them. And guess what? They all say the same thing. Badges. We don't need no stinking badges, but they put the word in formulas. They go, no, we don't need a formula. No, formula. We want to do it just the way we want to do it. It's got to flow from our minds. No, there are formulas for reasons, and the reason is they work. I'm not saying 100% of the time, but I'll tell you they work 75% of the time. They work spectacularly well, sometimes even better. And even when they don't work that well, they still work a little. When you don't have something you're looking at as a formula, you will not give yourself the leverage to succeed. Now, this is just something we put together, but here is the formula I give to you today. Today's marketing formula. Ooh, cool. WWW plus LTS plus TBI plus CTA equals EF squared. Oh, what an idiot I am. All right. I can see you guys looking, oh, what did we get onto here? This isn't math. WWW. Who, what, why, remember? LTS, logical thought sequencing, plus TBI. And that is, huh? That's right. Say it loud. Think like thought bites. Yes. Think bites, same thing. Plus call to action equals EF squared in our industry. That's effectiveness squared. If you can square your or cube your effectiveness, if you put these things into play. This is why I simply tell you, as a good neighbor, and hopefully a friend, you've got to incorporate psychological thinking and marketing in your business, even if you think it's really not necessary. Because it really is. Let's go with the takeaways, which means we're about finished. Most inventors are left-brained. Marketing is essentially a right-brained pursuit, meaning, guess what? You guys are going to find it a little foreign to begin with, which is why you need to know it and to be able to learn it easily and implement it. Psychological marketing is essential to your success. Essential. The mousetrap theory is indeed claptrap. Being an inventor makes you smart. Understanding what you don't know makes you brilliant. Learn to talk to your prospects, not at them. This is a conversation you're having with them over a kitchen table. They're friends you may not have ever met, but they are friends. And you have to treat them and talk conversationally, talk friendly, talk in language they understand because it's language you understand. Don't use the highfalutin words. Nobody wants those. We call that verbiage in the trade. Verbiage, by the way, does not mean words. It means an excess of words. A big excess. SciMark should be the operating system for all sell sheets. I know it's not going to be, but I can try. Get your who, what, and why out in 7 seconds. They have to look at it, be able to read it, and comprehend it in that time. Don't just make empty claims, folks. You're going to have to prove it down the line. In your thought sequences, you're going to have to put something there that here's why. We say we have the best service. It's because, guess what? Phoenix Magazine awarded us one of the 5-star service places in our industry. Yeah, that's good. A third party, terrific. You've just proven it. LTS, logical thought sequencing. And the ability to write in thought bites is human. You may make a comment if you wish. 1 to 5 stars. 1 star is, and 5 stars is great, like Tony the Tiger. And then, if you wish, you can put down your best URL for your email, and I will send you next week, by the 7th or the 8th, I will send you an e-copy of my new book. You should be able to read it in about an hour. Literally, I am a copywriter. I am trained to write tight. I've been trained since I was 18. I was hit over the head. I was kicked in the behind. I was taught. And so, when I started to write a novel, back in 1990 something, I wanted to write a golf novel. I worked on it for a year, and I came out with 9 unrelated stories that became short stories, 2 of which I sold. I can't write a novel. I can't go from one chapter to another and keep a storyline going. I want to finish it now. That's what a copywriter does. So you will get that book, and if you're on, you got your hand up.
I
Yes,
do,
ma'am. You have to go to the
I do. Yes, may I go, please, Sarah?
One or two.
There's some question as to how did they get in contact with you to get the books?
That's easy. I was just going to say that, and
Okay.
that is, if you will just send me an email. And the email should be Alan, ALAN, at writelikeamadman.com. I'll say it again, Alan, ALAN, at writelikeamadman.com. And we'll get you that as soon after the 6th as we can, probably within a day or two of there when it goes live. So you do that, I will get you the book, and you can thank Miss Laura for twisting my arm. And I really mean it. That is all for this session. And I appreciate your attention. I'm glad you could come out. I'm sorry about the mask thing, but and this is my stuff. And Laura, I think the rest is yours.